Hi everyone, this is Mariah. I am back with another Human Design Mini, and this time we're going to take a look at those interesting parent-child dynamics. Who here doesn't have a parent with whom you sometimes just have this like irritated feeling because of these old situations? It's so interesting that our parents just know exactly that one thing to say or that one situation to reference. And before we know it, we feel like triggered, like we're a 5-year-old again. I know what that feels like. I've been there. And I have to tell you that human design has made such a difference in my relationship with my parents. Just being able to observe the differences in the chart, it's been huge. So let's take a look at the question that we got from Natasha, because Natasha is sharing the chart of her and her father. And she says, my dad is a projector, and our relationship is often challenging. I'd like to understand more as to why this is and how we could treat each other in a way that feels mutually supportive. Knowing my dad's strategy is to wait for the invitation, how might I better respect my own boundaries and needs when he doesn't? I can easily feel bombarded when my dad comes in with something to share. The tone of his voice is so intense. So, how can I deal with this? And thank you for any guidance that you may have to offer. So, let's take a look at those charts, shall we? So, you should be able to see the chart right now. I'll make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so on the left-hand side, we see the father, and on the right-hand side, we see Natasha. So as you may know from human design has a number of different types. And on the left-hand side, when you look at the father, John, you see that there's only 3 centers that are defined. And it's his head. So there's a lot going on in his head. There's the throat, and then it's connected to the spleen. This projector has a lot of energy in the sense that he has a lot of focus. His aura is in such a way that it's focusing the attention and awareness into another person to be able to give guidance, to be able to really see and recognize what that other person brings in, to be able to guide them on their life path. That's what projectors are so amazing in. But the thing is that, especially in this case with the daughter, Natasha, Natasha's aura as a manifesting generator, which is another type, is very open and enveloping. So that means that she takes in anything that comes in from her surroundings, including the aura, the focused aura of her father. So the focused aura of the father needs to be invited. Otherwise, it overwhelms the aura of the manifesting generator. That's exactly what Natasha says, right? She says that, oh my gosh, it's so intense in how he just can come in and just wants to share, and I'm not available. And what happens is that the manifesting generator, Natasha, gets this sense of deer in the headlight look. You know, you get held in place by that energy and you're not really available. But here is her father, someone who has an authority, right, to hold her in place and says, no, you need to listen to me. Now, the interesting thing is that when you're looking at the chart of the father, you see that his design earth is the 4th gate. The 4th gate is one that has solutions. So I can really imagine that, Natasha, your father wants to come in and just share all these different solutions that he can see that you may have, need for. Like, oh, this is how you should do this. This is how you should lead your life, right? And then on the other hand, Natasha, you're someone who has a lot of individual circuitry. Individual circuitry really is all about you walking your own path in your own way, and nobody is going to share or tell you how to do things. So that's just a beautiful dynamic in how that just how we can already see how that might work in the chart. One way to find a better way of communicating, Natasha. Maybe, and here's me with my fourth gate trying to give you a solution. So feel free to, toss it out and see how it resonates for you. See how you get that gut response and perhaps play with it. When we're looking at your dad's design, he has his strategy where he really grounds in himself is through the spleen center. And the spleen center is everything to do with our health, our well-being, and it is where we can get grounded. So for him, having his strategy being his spleen center, to invite him as a projector, as you said, and invite him in a way that engages his body. So what do I mean with that? So when he comes to you and says, I have something to share, I really want to talk with you about solutions that I have for your life, then that may be a good opportunity to check in with yourself and say, am I available for that? And if it is too intense at that moment, if you are not available, to say, Dad, I really appreciate that. Right now is not a good time. How about later today or tomorrow, and we go have a cup of coffee, right? Coffee, bring him in his body, right? Or maybe you go take a walk and have a conversation. But at least you let him know that I am available to a certain point. Doesn't mean that you actually have to take in and take everything that he says as this is what you need to do in your life. But it does provide you with an opportunity to invite him in a way that is more beneficial for you, and also bring him back to out of his mind, because that's really where a lot of his awareness will want to be, but it's not where he truly is aligned with his design, right? His design, his strategy, it's all about the spleen. So bringing that energy back from that mind into one that's more grounded in his body will be very, very beneficial for you. Now, I want to take a look for a moment too to your combined chart. Now look at this. Look how incredibly busy everything gets. So just for a moment, you can see how all of a sudden you two take up almost all those areas in the chart, all those centers. So one thing that you can take a look at together is how your energy might affect him. Because you are emotionally defined, it can really amp up his internal emotions, right? Especially when you're not in a happy place and he's trying to put his solutions onto you and you're not available. That is then amping up your emotion, and that can match and amplify what he is putting back out to you. Now, what I found very interesting is you both have that 49th gate, and the 49th gate is the gate of revolution. If you can invite that energy, you can actually create a beautiful transformational process potentially out of this, right? Because the gate of revolution, it starts with the reactionary no, which is what you get from your dad, right? Dad, can you please change the intensity of your voice? No, he's not available to that. And I'm guessing you can probably find yourself saying no at certain times as well, because the 49th gate is the gate of no. The beauty though with this gate is that over time, or through the process, the emotional process, it can actually change to creating chaos from that no, like, okay, this is not working. How can we make it work? Right? So create an invitation in which you can talk about how can we communicate in a way that works better for both of us, to create a transformation into a revolution in how you can communicate better. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. You also see that there are two areas where you both are undefined and not bringing in anything. This has to do with value, and how can you both look at value? How can you both grow in that area of value, as well as inspiration, that area outside of the head, that is the area of inspiration. Like, what are things that inspire both of you? maybe you can find some areas of shared inspiration that you can both work together. I hope that this was helpful to be able to just recognize where you may bring intention and then to invite him to a time that also is beneficial for you so that you're available and not feeling held with that intensity of his voice. I hope that this is helpful. And I'm looking forward to talking to everybody again. I will be doing another chart review class really soon. I'll be announcing that in upcoming newsletter. I'm looking forward to talking with you all then. Take care.